Have you ever noticed how time management advice tends to sound like a contest you're doomed to lose? Like get up at 5 a.m., plan every minute, say no to everything, as if life's a giant to-do list and your worth depends on ticking every box perfectly. But here's the kicker. Sometimes these very techniques make you worse, not better. Take the classic time blocking. The idea is to schedule every task into neat little boxes on your calendar so you know exactly what to do and when. Sounds great, right? Except life isn't a spreadsheet. Things pop up, energy ebbs and flows. Suddenly, you're staring at an empty calendar block because your brain decided to take a nap. Or worse, you're stressed out because you can't cram a complex, draining project into a 30-minute box. Instead of making time your ally, you end up a slave to it. Or what about multitasking? We've been told it's the key to productivity. Answer emails while on a call, check messages while writing reports. But science disagrees. Multitasking is basically rapid task switching, and each switch costs you focus and energy. It's like trying to juggle flaming swords while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. Sure, some people can do it, but most end up dropping everything and burning their fingers. Then there's the to-do list obsession. You write down every single thing you need to do, hoping that by seeing it all, you'll feel less overwhelmed. Instead, you get buried under the weight of your own expectations. That list becomes a monster staring at you, mocking every unchecked item. Productivity tips say to prioritize, but how do you pick when everything screams urgent? The result? Paralysis by analysis, scrolling endlessly through tasks but doing none. And alarms. Oh, the alarms. Your phone buzzing every 15 minutes reminding you to drink water, stretch, breathe, get back to work. Instead of feeling helped, you feel nagged. It's like having a digital drill sergeant that never rests, breaking your flow with mechanical precision. You turn them off, promising yourself you'll be better tomorrow. Spoiler: tomorrow comes with new alarms. Sleep scheduling apps and optimal productivity windows promise to unlock your best self. They tell you to work when your brain is sharpest and rest when it's not. But what if your sharpest brain hours are spent answering an unexpected crisis? What if life's chaos doesn't fit into neat productivity windows? You either get frustrated or guilt-ridden for not following the optimal plan. Neither feels good. And then there's the guilt, the ever-present companion of the hustle culture. If you're not busy, you're lazy. If you say no to a task, you're uncooperative. If you take a break, you're wasting time. Time management turns into time policing, and you become the worst enforcer of all, yourself. Ironically, all these methods designed to free you from chaos often chain you tighter. You find yourself working harder to prove you're managing time well, but feeling farther from balance. So here's a thought. Maybe managing time isn't about controlling every second. Maybe it's about making peace with unpredictability, about forgiving yourself when plans fall apart, about knowing when to push and when to rest. Because in the end, time isn't the enemy. Stress, guilt, and unrealistic expectations are. So next time someone tells you to master your time, remember, maybe the real mastery is learning how not to let time master you. You know, there's also this obsession with morning routines. Like if you don't wake up before sunrise, chug a green smoothie, meditate, journal, and run 5 miles before breakfast, you've already failed the day. But what if you're not a morning person? What if mornings feel like a horror movie and the snooze button is your only ally? Forcing yourself into some idealized routine can backfire hard. It turns mornings into a battle zone, and instead of feeling energized, you're just exhausted before your day even begins. And don't get me started on the endless list of productivity apps. There's an app to track your water intake, one for your sleep, one to monitor your focus, and another that sends you motivational quotes every hour. You spend half your day managing the apps that are supposed to manage your time. The irony is brutal. Sometimes the best way to be productive is to ditch the apps and just get to work. Also, consider the pressure to maximize every minute. There's this subtle shame in doing anything that feels like downtime, watching TV, daydreaming, or just staring out the window. But guess what? Your brain doesn't run on 24/7 productivity. It needs space to wander, to recharge. Constantly trying to fill every minute is like trying to drive a car with the parking brake on. You might move, but not very far or well. And then comes the culture of guilt, that nagging feeling that if you're not doing something productive, you're wasting your life. This guilt doesn't motivate, it paralyzes. It makes you feel like you're always behind, always not enough. And the worst part? It's mostly self-inflicted. So maybe, just maybe, the secret isn't in mastering time, but in mastering kindness towards yourself. Giving yourself permission to be imperfect, to have off days, to breathe, to fail, to be human. Because at the end of the day, time keeps ticking whether you manage it perfectly or not. The difference lies lies in how you choose to live it. And let's talk about the irony of busy. Being busy has become a badge of honor, a status symbol of the modern era. People brag about their packed schedules as if it's a sign of success, while secretly wishing for a moment to breathe. But here's the catch. Being busy doesn't mean you're productive. It often means you're just overwhelmed, scurrying from task to task like a hamster on a wheel, running fast but going nowhere. And what about those endless meetings? Supposedly they're for collaboration and communication, but most meetings could be emails, and most emails could be avoided entirely. Sitting in a room, nodding politely while your mind drifts to the lunch you're missing feels like a slow form of torture. Yet we accept it because that's how things are done. Then there's the paradox of deadline-driven work. Deadlines are meant to motivate, to create focus, but they often lead to procrastination, last-minute chaos, and burnout. You find yourself working frantically, fueled by panic, and then recovering with guilt and exhaustion. The cycle repeats. Deadlines become both the problem and the solution, and you're stuck in the middle. The obsession with hustle culture only deepens the trap. The idea that you must grind, hustle, and sacrifice sleep and health to get ahead sounds inspiring on Instagram, but feels miserable in real life. The hustle often hides the simple truth. Sustainable progress needs balance, patience, and rest. Ignoring that leads to burnout, a slow, creeping thief of passion and energy. And here's the twist. The very tools and advice designed to help us manage time often ignore one simple truth. Life is unpredictable. Emergencies happen. People get sick. Ideas change. Priorities shift. No planner or app can fix that. The pressure to control every minute often clashes with the chaos inherent in living. Maybe it's time to rethink what time management really means. Maybe it's less about controlling the clock and more about controlling our response to time, about being flexible, about knowing when to push and when to pause. Because at the end of the day, time is the same for everyone. How we live it, what we choose to focus on, how we treat ourselves during the process, that's what really matters. So maybe the next time you feel overwhelmed by your schedule, by your to-do list, or by the pressure to be productive, try this. Breathe, step back, let go of the impossible standards. And remember, you're not your calendar. You're not your tasks. You're a person trying to live, and that's more than enough. You know what else messes with time management? The endless search for motivation. Everyone's always hunting for that elusive spark, something to push them into action. But motivation is a fickle friend. It shows up when it feels like it, often nowhere near your deadlines or goals. The problem is, we wait for motivation instead of starting anyway. We think we need to feel ready, energized, inspired, but sometimes you just have to begin in spite of everything. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. And then there's the myth of willpower, like it's some superpower you're supposed to summon daily. But willpower is a limited resource. You burn it out with every decision, every temptation resisted. The more you try to manage every moment with iron discipline, the faster you exhaust that mental fuel. Which explains why after a day of perfect time management, you might find yourself binge-watching shows instead of working. Also, have you noticed how saying no is touted as a time management miracle? Learning to say no is supposed to free you up, but it's not that simple. Saying no often comes with guilt, awkwardness, and social fallout, especially when you're the one who wants to be helpful, liked, or a team player. So you say yes too often. Tricky boundaries are. Have you noticed how planning your day down to the minute often backfires? Life has this way of interrupting the neatest schedules. A sick child, a surprise meeting, a broken coffee machine. When your perfectly planned day crashes, frustration hits hard. You feel like a failure for not sticking to the plan, when really, flexibility is the secret sauce of good time management. And here's a brutal truth. Sometimes the best way to manage your time is to say no, not just to tasks or meetings, but to the myth that you have to do it all, that hustle culture idolizes. Saying no means giving yourself permission to protect your energy, focus, and sanity. It's not selfish, it's necessary. And finally, the biggest trap, guilt. The feeling that you're always behind, not doing enough, wasting time. Guilt makes you rush, stress, and burnout. It's the enemy disguised as a motivator. The truth is, being kind to yourself, forgiving mistakes, and embracing imperfection will make you more productive in the long run. So maybe, just maybe, managing your time isn't about squeezing more into every minute. It's about choosing what truly matters. Finding balance between work and rest, action and stillness. Because in the end, time doesn't judge you, you do. So what's the takeaway from all this time management chaos? It's simple, but counterintuitive. Stop trying to control every second. Stop beating yourself up for every moment that slips through your fingers. Instead, Focus on what matters most to you. Prioritize what truly moves the needle in your life, not what looks good on a productivity checklist. Give yourself grace when life interrupts your plans because it will. Always. Remember, balance isn't about perfect schedules, it's about flexibility and compassion. And don't forget the power of rest. It's not laziness, it's fuel. When you recharge, you come back sharper, clearer, and more creative. When you push without pause, you burn out. Time management that ignores this truth is setting you up for failure. At the end of the day, time is a resource, but you're the one who decides how to spend it. So make peace with imperfection. Embrace unpredictability. And maybe, just maybe, give yourself permission to be human. Because life isn't about managing time perfectly. It's about living fully, however messy that may look. And that, ironically, is the best way to make the most of every minute.